ASMR?
Hundreds of people. Because I have like hundreds of people. That was good. Welcome back to another episode, late night episode of the Murph Mitise show.
In this next song, you must march around the room. Here we go.
I know what the fuck I'm doing. Just sit down in the chair.
Adam, we're back. I have no idea what we're talking about tonight, but you said let's have some beers and chat. Let's do it.
Look, we figured the partners are away,
Correct.
so the boys can play. We haven't had, honestly, I haven't had much to drink yet, but I think it's just a very relaxed Saturday night, so this is going to be a little bit different to normal. This beanie's actually making me hot, so I'm going to put my sleeves up.
Instead of taking a beanie off.
The beanie stays. The Murph brand always has something on his head covering his
Can we
bald spot.
just add like different hats to every episode? Like just a different
Like
one.
Orlando used to do.
Like
with
Orlando
every
used to do. So
session.
we got like a beanie, then we got a cap, and then we
Well,
got like a
I have
cowboy
a lot
hat.
of beanies, so I reckon
Legionnaires
over
hat.
winter I can just change it up.
Different beanies. I think it gets too consistent. I think we got different style of hats.
We can work on that.
For those who watch the YouTube,
Suppose.
what's Murph gonna wear today?
Surprise,
Right.
surprise.
I'm still down for Legionnaires. I'm still down for
Right.
Legionnaires hat. I'm down for a broad brim. I am massively down for a broad brim. Murph for the
We'll
broad
work on
brim.
We'll work on that. So we can talk a bit about beer as well, because like we'll just go intermittent conversation on beer and then substance. So this beer, I don't even know who it's by.
We're currently drinking a black beer. In my head, it looks black. It's thick. It's got some things in it. That's how I go. And
So
then
this is a porter brewed with plums, aged in cognac barrels.
it's a fancy beer.
This is definitely this is the epitome of fancy beer.
I was going to bring a 6-pack of pale ales and
No,
Murph
you
told me no.
weren't. No, you weren't. So yeah, we thought let's have a chat tonight. Let's see what happens. Bit of a. It could go D&M. It could go ASMR. Or it could be anything really.
Could be S&C.
It could be S&C. It could be psychology. It
Could be PT. I was going to go with all the different like little, not even anagrams, the little abbreviations.
for.
Could be ASMR. Could be D&M. Could be S&C. Could be PT. You're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
What else is there? I don't know what else there is.
Anyway, cut to the chase. Let's go. What do you want to talk about?
So I put out a. I think we'll go to this. We'll go to this because it could be quite interesting to see what happens and where it goes. So I put out a little Instagram. Actually, let's go back even further. We spoke about this not long ago. I didn't like how it came out.
Oh, we're going there.
We go on there.
Okay, let's do it.
So we spoke about it not long ago. I didn't like how it came out. It sounded a bit too staged, too put on. Well, it didn't flow like we normally would. It wasn't as relaxed as normal. So I thought, you know what, we're going to scrap it. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it again tonight. We're going to see how this one turns out.
Right now?
Right now.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, and I put out, so what I was going to say before, I put out a bit of a story on Insta yesterday. It's still up for those who want to participate. Or you can't participate now because it's done. But I put it out, and it was basically, do you want to know about our fears? And everyone said yes.
100%. You had triple figures.
That doesn't happen. Everyone said yes. So people, I think they want to know more about what, I guess, the people behind the people, the two of us. How's that blueberry going?
I'm just sniffing. I'm just sniffing this drink. This is a beer. So for those who can't see it on the YouTube, if you're listening right now, I have a blue beer in my hand right now. The actual color of it is like an Aquaman blue.
It's pretty damn blue, isn't it?
Right.
It's almost glittery.
It's almost like a glittery Aquaman blue, and it literally smells like a blueberry milkshake.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to trying it next.
It tastes like a blueberry milkshake.
Fantastic. So yes, anyway, we thought we'd talk about our fears today, and we can take this right back to when we can remember from the beginning of our first fear, or what fears mean to us, how we use fears, all that sort of stuff. We can go deep or superficial.
You want to go ham on this shit?
Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so last time was a bit too structured.
So
I'll
go get context because we know what happened. No one else knows because we deleted the episode.
Yeah, or it's not deleted, but it's definitely.
We actually recorded an episode on
Yes.
this, and that's what you didn't like. That's what we're going to provide
Yes.
context around. So if you're listening, we actually filmed an episode on this, and we went into a little bit of this, and didn't come out as we wanted it to, and that's what we're saying now. So we're going to kind of redo it again, but a little bit of beer courage.
And not so much that, just more relaxed, more Murph Mitise style.
I don't know if I'm relaxed right now. I'm tense with blueberry milkshake in my lips.
So, I mean, you started off last time asking me the question, and I think now we're gonna do the same sort of thing and discuss.
So chat.
We're gonna chat about it.
I got a real, okay.
You got something.
I was gonna say, like, the last week, right, as I've been talking about recently, we've filmed like 4 episodes in 2 days. So if you're listening, it would have been maybe a month ago I started, but for us right now, it's like this week. I was talking to a good friend of mine. She, like, I think I told you I went for a 2-hour walk with her. We had a big chat about some things, whatever, cool. And then I started talking to another close friend of mine, and she's in like a similar field to this other friend of mine. So one's Sarah, one's Alicia. And she's in a similar field, and through talking to Alicia about other stuff, she sent me through some questionnaires on just different things to like work out different styles of things. And one of them was my adult attachment issues questionnaire.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
What
to
do you-
anything particular or just in general?
No, like, you know how when you're a child, well, this is how I understand it right now, and if you're listening, I know they are, both of them, please hit me up and correct me if I'm incorrect, but attachment styles is to how we emotionally deal with attachment issues as a child, and then how it presents in relationships when we're a human, when we're
When
an
we are
adult human, when we are an adult, you know. And the questionnaire that Alicia sent me was about your adult attachment, and what it does is it basically breaks it down to 4 different parts. You fill out all the questions, and then it goes into, this is your, you know, percentages of this style, percentages of that style, percentage of this style. And what it does is it gives you an idea of, it gives you an idea of how you form attachments, how or how not you form attachments, and how you may be presenting in your relationships to like partners and loved ones and whatever. Super interesting. I can see you asking, you got questions in your head right now.
There's something, you're going to go deeper with this?
Well, I can go deep with it.
Yeah,
like,
go on.
No, it's just.
What did you find out? What did you discover?
Oh, so 51% my adult attachment style, 51% secure. Okay, and then 30.
What does that mean?
I'll explain it
Okay.
in a little bit. From what I understand, remember, I'm not expert, just a S&C, PT, ASMR fan, just learning my life.
Loving that ASMR.
I love it's coming up. Living my life. So basically, I found that 51% secure attachments, or secure attachment, and then I think it was 30% avoidant attachment, and then something like 9% ambivalent, and then something else, whatever the last one was, I can't remember what it was. I didn't take note of the 4th one. No one cares about the 4th one. So basically what it's saying is, like, you know, as you're growing up, right, if you're a child and if your needs are being met, you know, you can form secure attachments to your parents or your caregivers at that time, right? And so if I'm crying and then my needs are met, cool, I look for that parent that is going to help provide that to me, that attachment to me, and this is secure attachment, right? This is basically what I'm understanding. Now, if your needs aren't met, you end up learning patterns of behavior, and you end up internalizing patterns of behavior that then can present in later life in your relationships with loved ones, right? And so it's interesting to me, because I'm like, you know what? Like, this is the phase I'm at now, where I want to learn more about what my relationships are like with close friends and close family and partners and whatnot, and how I present, what I might be doing, you know, where, like, if Murph comes to me and tries to offer me love, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. Why am I like that? You know, or do I feel secure in this relationship where, you know, I feel comfortable to talk to you about my needs. I feel comfortable to talk to you about what I want or how we go about things. Or do I not feel comfortable? And why do I not feel comfortable? Why am I avoiding? Or why am I looking at other ways of working through that process? It's super... for me, I haven't sent you the link yet. I want to keep it under a secret until tonight.
Yeah, I want to do this. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
I'll send you the link. It's very basic, but it it provides a little bit of an insight into, okay, cool, you know, this is what was happening when I was a child. And this is some of the questions are very, I think, as I looked at them, ambiguous. You know, this question that I was saying, I was kind of like, oh, I'm not sure if this could go either way, you know, and I'm going to interpret it how I interpret it, and I'm assuming that's how it's presented. You know, I'm going to interpret it this way or this way, and then it gave me the answer at the end, you know. And what Alicia was talking to me about was that, you know, you've either got a secure or non-secure or insecure attachments. You know, in this question that she sent me, it breaks down into 4 different categories to give you an idea of, okay, where that may be occurring or what that may be coming from. All right. But she goes, in general, there's either secure attachment or you have insecure attachment or non-secure attachments. And you've got non-secure attachments as the reasons why they are coming through. And learning how you were brought up and learning how you had your needs met or met your own needs will give you an idea of how you then present in relationships. So if you're constantly finding, you know, you cannot connect with someone, or someone's trying to give you love and you can't receive it properly, or you can't receive it and then feel comfortable with them, or whatever that may be, it gives you an idea of an insight into why that might be occurring and shit you wouldn't even know about.
Yeah, well,
super interesting.
That does sound interesting.
Yeah.
You have to send me the link. I wouldn't mind giving that a go. I like finding out more about myself.
Dude, it's
that I don't know.
What Sarah said to me, because I talked to Sarah first, and she said to me on the phone, and I remember distinctly said, "Are you sure you want to go down this path?" And I said, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah.
And then she said, "I know what you like. I know you're going to say that. Are you sure you're going to go down this path? Because when you go down this path, you learn things you cannot unlearn.
Yep.
And it may bring up some shit that you don't want to bring up right now." And I said, "Fuck yeah! Let's do this!"
I hope people anticipated to turn their volume down before you did that.
I know, we've got both mics on one channel now, so it should be okay. We're going to amplify and clip it. So if you're listening in a car, give us your feedback. If you're listening in headphones, I apologise for my vocalage just then.
Oops. Yeah. Cool. I don't have much to say on that because I obviously haven't done it and I don't really know what you're talking about.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You'll learn.
But, I mean, one thing we spoke about in the episode that we didn't upload, we went into a bit about myself and my past and some of the reasons I do what I do today, the reasons why I am what I am, who I am today. So I think we can use that story still.
Can I? Yep.
What's that?
I was going to give the three words, and then you can lead into the story after that. Or do you want to lead in? You tell the story, then we go from there.
The 3 words I was called.
Yeah. It was the title of the episode.
It was the title. I'm going to tell the story, and
Done.
then we can use the 3 words.
Bam.
And then you're going to tell your story.
Do I have a story?
I don't know.
Did I tell a story?
I don't know. You didn't tell a story last time, but we're going to see one tonight.
Okay.
So basically, my story is this. For those who don't know, I was quite overweight back at school. So literally I was 135 kilos in year 12, so 2002, at the age of 16, I would have been, 16, 17. So big boy, that's more than I weigh now. Comfortably more than I weigh now. And had a lot of issues with, I wasn't a good student at school, didn't do very well in school, had a lot of issues with friends and family having expectations on me, who I was meant to be as a person. Anyway, one particular day stands out in my mind more than any other day. And it's basically, it was not long after I did one of those, like a vocation tests. So you do a test, answer a bunch of questions, and it determines what you could potentially be as a career choice. And did the test, walked away, pretty happy with my result. My mates asked me, or the group I hung out with asked me, what did you get? And I said, it says I could be a doctor or a physio or something like that. And they all laughed at me. And the first thing they said was, dude, how can you possibly be any of those when you're fat, dumb, and slow?
That's fucked.
And this is the group of people that I hung around with every day. Like it was before school, lunch, recess, and then some days we'd hang out on after school, go to town or whatever else. and they thought of me as fat, dumb, and slow. That was just who I was as a person, and that was pretty shit. That was leading up to that. And there's one day, as I said, it was just after that experience, and we were sitting around, and a group on the front oval as we used to do, and we used to go, and one of us would be elected to run across the road outside of school grounds to go get a big bag of chips, hot chips, so we could all share it in the group. Highly against school rules, but fuck that, who cares?
I like there's an election process.
People were elected to do this. I probably wasn't because I was too fat, dumb, and slow.
So,
I can laugh about it now, it's okay.
okay.
So yeah, they did that, came back, eating this bunch of chips, and I was having a few of my chips, and probably quite a few because I was a big boy. And anyway,
You're fat.
I was fat. Anyway, they started picking on me. You know how it sort of takes turns on who gets picked on the most back in school days? And especially, it was an all-boys school, so Blackfriars, all-boys school. It was pretty much my turn that day for the group to focus on. So they focused on me.
There's so much in this.
It was pretty rough. And anyway, focused on me, gave me a heap of shit, and I couldn't handle that day. I broke down. Now, breaking down to the point of tears in an all-boys school doesn't go down well. I can assure you that.
There's so much in this.
It didn't go down well. So they gave me more shit for that. It sort of escalated from that point. The bell went for school again. I don't remember what class it was, but pretty much everyone jumped up, went to school. I went back to class, and I sort of sat there like, that was shit. That was just a horrible experience. Pretty upset with everything that went on. Picked myself up, went to class, and finished off the day. And went home later that day. And normally when I go home, Mum would greet me at the door. Hey, how you going? Have a bit of a chat, debrief on what happened at school. Couldn't do it this day. Like, I was pretty torn up inside. Couldn't do it. So I went into my room and just laid on my bed, and I was laying there just like going over the things that happened that day. In that moment, and I was, for some reason, my attention left my head and went down to my belly, and I was laying there, and I was looking at the ceiling, and then all of a sudden I just looked down at my belly, and I'm like, you know what, I pretty much am. I'm a fat dude. It's not good. It's not healthy. Their words kept going through my head while I was looking at my stomach. You know what? At that point, I pretty much realized I'm at this crossroad. I'm at this precipice where I've got to decide, am I going to keep going or am I going to change to something different? What that difference was, I didn't really know at the time, but I had to make a decision there. And I was getting to a point where I was pretty depressed. Mum knew that I was pretty upset with things going on. Now, I wouldn't say I was in the point of like clinical depression. I don't think I was anywhere near that level, but just to the point where I just wasn't happy with life, wasn't happy with what was happening. I wasn't getting good grades at school either, therefore the dumb comment come into it. I think that's part of the slow, even though I was pretty like physically slow. I couldn't run very fast, I was fat. So the slow could be taken two ways there. So again, laying on the bed, noticed my belly, those thoughts went through my head, made the decision. I mean, you know what, I can't keep going this way, because if I keep going, the depression side of things is going to get worse, and it could end up being that clinical level. I didn't know that at the time, but that's where it could have ended up. So I literally rolled off my bed. Again, I was fat. Rolled off the bed.
More of this, Murph.
Got onto the floor, and I just started doing just exercises that I knew in my head. Push-ups. I did some push-ups, some sit-ups, and leg raises. And I did them every night religiously for, I don't know exactly how long, but 12 months on from that point. So I'd finished school, graduated, started my Justice Studies certificate for TAFE, because I thought I wanted to become a cop. I don't think you even knew that.
That's a new one for me.
Yes, I did Justice Studies. Anyway, started all that. So 12 months on from that decision, that fork in the road point, I'd lost 42 kilos.
Ooh.
Now, it wasn't a good way of doing it. I'd sort of starved myself a fair bit. I played a lot of basketball, trained a lot in the gym, did a lot of unhealthy things to achieve that. But I feel like I needed to go through that to prove to myself that I could do something about it. Again, it wasn't healthy, but I had to take action. And that was the action in my head that I thought was appropriate at that point. Make sense? Now, with this whole topic about being fear, I still use that moment on my bed looking at my belly as a motivation to do a lot of the things I do today. So it was like, that was for me one of the biggest reasons I went into this industry. I figured if I can do that to myself, like make that drastic change for myself, for my physical, mental, physiological health, then why can't I help someone else do that? So I did that. That's sort of the reason for the industry, and that's the reason why, you know, I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym. That's the reason I do gym consistently. That's the reason I do eat healthy 85% of the time, 85% of the time.
It's a very specific number, but okay.
Approximately, near the 80-20 rule. That's what I go by. Actually, 80-20 rule is 20. Anyway. So basically, at the end of the day, I use that fear on that bed as my motivation to keep pushing myself, doing things now, so I don't end up back at that point. Does that make sense?
Of course that makes sense.
Of course that makes
I was
sense.
going to ask you a question then.
You can ask another question.
It's a question that has, I'm glad we're doing this now because we've actually filmed an episode previously and where we talk about this question, right? My question is it the fear or is it the feeling of you at that point that you don't want to get to?
I guess it's a combination of the fear of that feeling.
What's the feeling?
The feeling was, I'm not going to say it's like, because it actually was.
What's the feeling?
The feeling was, if I keep going down this track, I don't know where I'm going to be. It's a whole uncertainty. I don't like uncertainty. I like to.
Do you remember the feeling? Because that's a thought process.
Yeah.
I feel that's a thought process.
Yeah, fair call.
What was the feeling? Were you angry, frustrated,
Oh,
sad?
sad, definitely sad. Sad. I guess I'll use the word depressed again, for lack of a knowledge of another word that I can use.
Sad's a good word.
Sad's
Really sad is a good word.
We'll go with really sad. Because again, definitely wasn't clinical. So definitely really sad. We'll go with really sad. And I didn't like feeling that way. No one really does. Okay, so I don't like feeling that way so much that I do what I do today. And that goes, another story we spoke about was the financial side of things. I've been pretty much broke twice.
Do you want to go into that a little bit? Because that was in the other episode as well.
That was in that episode that we decided not to post up.
That's the archive episodes.
The archive episode.
Oh, there's so much in the archive. It's not funny.
All right, so the quick rundown of the story was basically I was in a partnership with a friend of mine. The partnership wasn't working out for whatever reasons. And we decided, you know what, maybe it's time to split. We're going to do our own things. We split in a very disadvantageous way for me. He had really found something that he was going to go to, and I was sort of lost in what I was doing and where I wanted to go. So he excelled, like good on him, not holding anything against him, good job. But me, I was quite stuck. So anyway, we decided to split. The next day, I'm driving to work to see some clients because I was a coach back then as well. Driving to work, and I got pulled over by the cops for doing speeding.
So you weren't slow at this point.
I wasn't slow anymore.
You were very fast.
Yes.
Too fast.
Too fast. So yeah, I got done for speeding. And when I got the expiation notice, looked at the amount, and I realized that was about $10 less than what I had in the bank. So by the time I paid this amount off, the fine off, I only had $10 to my name overall out of everything. That's it. That's all I had. So I was pretty much living day to day, week by week off of the clients I currently had at that point. I had zero savings, nothing else. And it's that, again, at that point, I had to sit back and think. I had no belly at that point, which is a good thing. I learned from my lesson. I had to sit back and think, you know, this is another one of those moments. Unfortunately, I had a second moment, not long after that. I don't exactly remember what the moment was for that one. But another moment again with the whole financial stress where I had to sit back and think, you know what, I can't let this happen anymore. And I still use that, and I have strategies I put in place with my current financial strategies to make sure I keep that fear inside my head. And I'm going to bring up something in a sec to make sure that I don't go back to that position. Now, when I say that, I don't know if anyone knows Tim Grover. If you don't, go look
If you
at.
don't, now you do.
Now you do. Go look at his first book, Relentless. Fantastic book. Love it. Changed my life at a really tough point. I think I've even mentioned this story before, so I won't go back there.
More Murph stories. Murph on Saturday night is my favourite Murph ever.
That's not the whole story, but that book did a lot for me in the way of like career choices and career path and pushing myself there. I'm currently listening to it. I just finished his new book, Winning. It's not as good. Sorry, Tim.
I'm not going to get it then. I was going to ask your opinion on it. I'm not going to get it. I'll just... No, wait.
There's a couple of things I took from it which were pretty cool, and I'm going to tell you them now, so don't,
Yeah, spoil it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, you just told me it's not that good, so I'm not going to waste the Audible credit on it.
Yeah,
Come on, man, let's do this.
Unfortunately, it wasn't relentless. Like, you know how you see the first movie, like, this is amazing, to see the second movie, and let you down?
Like, Relentless made me lose my shit.
It was amazing.
I gave it to people that weren't even in the fitness industry. I was like, read this.
I tell everyone.
Everyone.
What book do you recommend? It could be a 3-year-old. Go read Relentless. I don't give a shit who you are.
You better learn to read right now.
Read Relentless.
My niece is going to learn that shit in like a year.
Incredible book. Winning? Not so much. Missed the point. But there was a part in the book which did ring true to me, and it said what I do, which is using fear, using the dark side. And to him, he says the dark side is it can be something that you fear in your life from the past. And that's what that is for me, is I fear being that fat, dumb, slow kid again. And I use that as my current motivation to keep pushing, keep developing, keep growing myself in my physical body, my mental self, my career, all that sort of stuff. Keep getting better in that point. So my dark side is my fear of what I used to be, and I use that as my motivation to keep getting better.
I'm so glad we did this now.
Happy with that?
Because before, I didn't push you. I pushed you a little bit, but we didn't really have we needed to get more context around things.
Yes. And because we spoke about it once we finished, like we pushed stop recording, we had a little chat about it, and you said, I would have liked to go on here. And I'm like, you know what, we should have gone there.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Yep.
I think you tried to do it, and I didn't click what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do tonight. And
You want to open up a little bit.
Yeah. One thing you asked me was in the show that we did
The archive.
the archive show.
The archive show.
Was what would you tell Murph back then? What would I now tell Murph back then? And I'll basically say, look, keep going. It gets better. Make your decision. Make any decision. And I guess information or advice to anyone out there going through the same sort of thing is you need to make any decision, no matter what the decision is. It's going to get better, even if it's the wrong decision, because you're going to learn something from something. You can't learn something from nothing. That makes sense?
Of course it makes sense.
Of course it makes sense.
You know I'm vibing.
Yeah, so if you make a good decision, well done, you're on the path up. If you make a wrong decision, well done, learn a lesson.
You make a decision.
Make a decision. Exactly right. So my advice to Murph back then, and my advice to anyone listening now who may be going through some sort of turmoil or some sort of hard time, is just make a decision for some sort of change, regardless of what it is, and just go with that until you need to make a new decision.
I've got some thoughts.
You tell me your thoughts. I'm going to drink some blueberry milkshake.
It was delicious. I finished the whole glass while you were talking.
It is very glittery.
It's very glittery. It's imagine like a thinly viscous glitter paint. That's what this blueberry muffin beer looks like. That's what I was looking at. I don't know if you saw me. You can see on the video, but
yeah, it's very fascinating.
when you were talking, you were getting like some deep into some shit, and I was like looking deep into my glass. I was listening. I was glittering, and then I was listening. And I was glittering.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
The subconscious was getting me, and the conscious was getting me.
It was some ethereal shit that was going on. The reason I think it's good now is because you've had a couple of beverages. You had one before I got here, right? Yeah. And it's good. We're gonna have some more beverages later. I bought this. I've just pulled out a little old number 15. Alright, because we're going to go deeper. We're going to go deeper. But
Murph doesn't drink spirits.
Murph will tonight because we're going to chat some shit. But anyway, I thought I would surprise you with that one.
Yeah, wow.
Da-da-da-da.
Thank you.
What I find interesting is the way I interpret what you've said and the way I understand what you've said. And you talk about it as, I don't want to have that fear anymore, right?
Yes.
And in that time, when you were getting pulled over by that cop and you got given your expiation notice, right? It wasn't a fear at that time. What I believe is that it wasn't a fear at that time. It was a feeling.
Yes.
You felt something, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned talking about, at Blackfriars,
Yes.
how it's not a good thing to show emotion, break down, blah, 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 right?
Yes.
In an all-boys school.
Yes.
I'm going to blow it out. I'm going to blow it up. I'm going to blow it wide.
You blow it up.
You blow it up. I think that it is very difficult, and I think I think it is a facet of society that men are unable to accept their feelings and talk about feelings as feelings, right? This is like, we live in the same society. We've grown up similar sort of upbringing, right? And it's only been the last year and a half, 2 years, right? So since I got to like the late 20s, early 30s, that I've been able to understand and accept and talk about how I feel with things, And so I think that was probably my issue and not issue, it wasn't an issue, but my thoughts around the archived episode. I love that we should put that in bold, archived episode. Was that I didn't know how to ask questions in that episode, which was only fucking 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right? Ask questions that would elicit the response or the openness that I wanted to get from you in that instance, which was, what was the feeling? You said in the episode you talked about, using your fear as a motivating factor, and I was like, but the fear is something that you cannot use to motivate because subconscious, blah, 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 whatever we said in the episode, right? It's not a fear, it's a feeling. We try and move away from our feeling as a person. All right, male or female, doesn't matter, right? And this is the thing that I've only been understanding in a lot more depth recently. And like I said to you in the last one we talked about, where we sat here and we talked about what's it feel like or what's it feel?
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Yeah.
And you talk about your story of, with the boys giving you shit and you had that and you had that fear, whatever. And my story is the one that sticks in my mind when I was a child is, and there's a lot more before this, but is in year 8, right? So I went into a program when I was in year 8 that did, I was accepted into the program in year 7, but then when I did year 8, I did year 8 and year 9 in the same year, and then 10, 11, 12, right? Now, I'd already been accelerated from year 1. So I did year 1 and year 2 in the same year. So basically went from year 1 to year 3, and then from year 8 to year 10, right? Now, in year 8, and within that program, in year 8, year 10, year 11, year 12, we had the same teacher as our home group teacher at the school I was at, right? Now, in year 8, I would have been 15, 14, 13, 12 years old. And we were walking past the gymnasium at the school I was at. I remember distinctly, right? Walking past the gymnasium, and we're in 2 lines, as they get you to walk in school, military march. And my teacher, Rob Perkins, sup, buddy? How you doing? I remember you. You remember me? Probably not. Anyway, Rob Perkins said to me, what are you going to do when you leave school? Said to like the class. And I was like, I want to go to university. And whatever I said, I just said I want to go to university because that's what I had known at that time. And he looked me in the eyes and said to me, you'll never make it through university. And I said, fuck you, Rob.
Did you really?
In my head. I was waiting for that. So in my head, I was like, fuck off. Like, who are you to say that to me? I was angry. I was angry. And I used that to drive me to get to university. I graduated school at 15.
Yeah. Right.
I was in university at 16. Right. I did 3 years of uni, then I dropped out. Rob was right.
Damn you, Rob.
Damn you, Rob Perkins. Right. But I used that feeling of anger against that man to get to where I wanted to get to. And that then led me to get because I was 2 years behind everyone, right? Age-wise, 2 years behind everyone. I got to uni and I kind of was like, I've got 2 years up my sleeve to do whatever the fuck I want to do with it. Like if I want to fail a year, do it again. Fail another year, do it again. Same age, be good. You know, and so it got me to a point where when I was in third year engineering, so I was 15, I just turned 18, I think it was. Just turned 18. I got into the course and there were 200 kids in this class. So when you first start, it was like 1,000 kids doing engineering.
Huge.
And then it goes down and I got into a specialist degree. And I got into this class, like I was excited about it. Automotive engineering in 2006. Whew, right, glad I got out of that. I remember the class, we were in the class. And then the lecturer came in and he was like, you know, of the 200 of you in here, only 2 of you will work in this industry. Obviously knowing what was going to happen. And the rest of you will be going on to work in like plastic injection molding or some other type of optimization of, you know, using engineering skills and your math skills to optimize for companies and factories. And I was like, fuck that, you know. And so up until that point, I wasn't enjoying second year, but I still got through it. Up until that point, there were 2 driving factors that led me to get to that point. The first one was this anger, this like seeping anger at Rob to say, fuck you, right? I'm going to do that. The second one was this drive that I was never good enough because I was 2 years younger than everyone else, right? And they were my 2 feelings. I was never good enough and I was always angry, right? I never acted out. I never did anything that you would assume an angry person would do. But now looking back on that, I was like, I was an angry child, right? At that point. And I would go over and above to try and prove myself. Right? So in the course that I was in, between year 8 and year 12, there were, I think it was like 21 students. And I would say a good, if you looked at them, 18 to 19, you would be like typical like nerd, right? Super, super book smart, couldn't really socialize too well, and weren't really good at sport. You know, so if you had a stereotype, that's what a stereotype would be, right? And I wanted to not be that stereotype. You know, I want to be like, I am good at everything. You know, I'm in this program, but I can socialize. I'm in this program, but I can play sport, whatever. And I ended up being in year 12, I would wag most of my lessons to go and hang out with like the cool kids, you know, the perceived cool kids at that time, to go and play basketball, right? And I only found out the year after I graduated that my mum was worried for me in that year, because what would happen is that she didn't know I would wag. I didn't tell her that until I got my score back. But at the end of the year, at the end of the school day, I would walk to my mate's house, right? And he would play Xbox and I would study. Right? That's what it was. He'd be playing Xbox, Halo, whatever it was. And I would literally be on a stable table studying, and then every now and again I'd jump in and play. My mum didn't see that, you know. Yeah, right. And so then at the end of the year, I got my exam results back, and I have a great story about how I revised my chemistry exam. I'll tell you that after. But I got my exam results back, and my mum broke down. Like, I got enough to get into engineering, right? My mum broke down. I said, what's the matter? Why are you crying? And she was like, I didn't think you had studied at all this year. I didn't see you at all. And my parents are very much ones to be like, we'll support you, you do you know? And she goes, we want to support you, we want to pull you back, you know, hold you back and do this stuff. And so we thought that you were going to fail. And I was like, Mum, in year 8, Rob Perkins told me I was going to make it. You can fuck that guy. So basically, like, you know, looking back now, I can understand what those feelings were that harbored me through 4 years of school. Yeah. You know, and now starting to understand, okay, cool, like literally like the last month or so, last couple of weeks or months or so, I understand, okay, how have feelings that I've had led to outcomes or led to behaviours that I've adopted, that have led to outcomes that I've either achieved or not achieved, or things that have happened to me, and how I then processed and moved forwards from that. Super interesting shit.
Yes. It is amazing how much what we do now is based on the stuff that happened 20 years ago. So I think, I finished year 12 in 2002. Mm-hmm. So it's almost 19 years ago.
God damn.
At the end of this year.
Hot damn.
Yeah, right? And I still use all that stuff because that story I said before happened to me. I'm pretty sure it was maybe it would have been year 12. So 2002 that happened. And I still use that today for now. That happened to you, when was it?
Year 8.
Year 8, and you still use it today. So that would
I remember that feeling.
20 plus years ago.
20 plus years ago.
Yeah. Again, and if you want to know my feeling, it definitely wasn't anger. I'm not an angry person. I'm sure you know that. I'm sure people that watch
You say that a lot. I feel it's just deep seated. No, I'm kidding.
figure that
It's just
out.
like really just this demon shit just deep inside you. There, got out yet?
I'm definitely not an angry person. I definitely felt it was definitely a sadness that come in, and I would say I still feel that today. If I don't do something that what's the word? If I don't do something that matches what I believe I should be doing to get to where I want to go, that's congruent. If I don't do something that's congruent with where I want to be, I still feel that sadness. Even though I'm not sad, I still feel that memory feeling from back then.
Do things occur which are almost like triggers for that?
Triggers would be it. So if I decided, you know what, I'm gonna sleep in today, I'm not gonna go to the gym. I wake up like, there's that feeling here that I'm like, should have done it.
What's the feeling?
It would be like a sadness feeling.
What would it be? Not be like?
No, it's a sadness feeling.
Yeah.
It is. I do feel sad, even though it's based on before. I'm not sad at that point, but I'm sad based on before.
You can relate it back to a time where you were sad.
Yes.
And you can use that as a driver to move forwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
And same with money, finances now. As I said, I've got a strategy that I put in place to make sure that I do feel sadness at points, to make sure that I have the money I need, where I need it, when I need it.
What did I call you in the gym this morning? Might have been yesterday morning.
What'd you call me?
Cash Money Murphy.
Exactly. And yeah, obviously I'm not rich by any means, but the strategies I've got to put in place, I make sure that I feel. So this is probably a weird thing for some people to understand. I don't really know. I'm sure you understand what I'm going with this. Is I put strategies in place for my finances to make sure that I constantly have this sadness feeling when I look at my bank account, because that makes me keep growing. I move away from the sadness.
Yes, you put things in place to simulate the feeling that you had when you didn't have the things in place. As in, you've got money now.
Yes.
And you simulate a feeling of when you look into your bank account, you have $10, right?
Yes.
And when you look at that bank account, that makes you go, I remember a time, and that kind of triggers you a little bit.
Yes.
When I only had $10. And so now I've got to work harder.
Yes.
Or now I've got to do this, or now I've got to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And that works very well for me. So to give a bit of context around that in the way of psychology for humans is we are motivated by one of two things, pleasure or pain.
Pleasure, coach.
Context needed around that one. Very recent context, unfortunately. Pleasure or pain. Everyone is motivated by one of those two things. Most of us, and I don't know what could be an arbitrary percentage, I don't even know, but a percentage is, most of us are motivated by pain. We want to move away from the pain rather than going towards the pleasure. Another way to look at it is the carrot or the stick. Move away from the stick towards the carrot. I'm definitely motivated by pain. Like you can say to me, but if you do this, you're going to get all these riches. I'm like, I don't really give a fuck. If you do this, you're going to make sure you never be that. I'm like, yeah, fuck you, let's do that. So I put, because I know that about my own psychology, I put that into place to make sure that I can use that constantly. And that's what I do for, as we just said, the finances, for my physical body. I put all those things in place to make sure that I'm constantly feeling those pressures to make sure I move away from them.
I love it.
Like that.
We're at, you know what? I think we'll wrap this one up.
That's legit.
That's legit. 45 minutes.
That's enough.
You know what? We'll come back again. We're gonna have some more beers, and we're gonna come back and chat because we've got the microphone. We've got some old number 15. You're having it. I bought it. You're gonna have some. on camera, and in the audio we'll get some ASMR. Murph taking a shot of the old number 15. We've got more stuff to talk about because I think we're gonna have some fun tonight on this one.
On that note,
On that note, we'll be back very soon with another Murph Mitise.